We are the old Negroz, and Negroz love us.
You
ought to know, ought to know, ought to know, ought to know, ought
Why would the men harm the children?
Don't harm the children. Don't harm the children.
Why would the men harm the children?
Don't harm the children. Don't harm the
Don't harm
children.
the children. Harm the children.
In some far off place, be like years in space. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. Where human feet have never trod, where human eyes have never seen. We'll build a world from stretch and wait for you. Wait for you. In tomorrow's world, we'll take the new ship.
That's not garbage back there?
Could fly on my own system.
Yeah, and if I wanted to, scratch my itch.
Pay your time.
That was the preacher saying that?
Yeah, he said scratch my
Kenneth
itch.
Copeland's wild.
That was Copeland.
Yeah, that was Copeland.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was like, that's either a politician or a preacher.
Nah, that was both.
Formerly Lord Licorice in Candyland.
Yeah, he was a creep. He said scratch my itch.
Do you have any garbage?
He looked like he has tickets to a secret comedy club.
How do you get all that bread and he look like that, though? He looks like a fucking
Fucking
demon.
shit, yeah.
Like, he looks really good. To me, I was doing this research for this fucking show, looking at his fucking face.
Yeah, if that's not proof. If that's not proof that they're doing it
At least the black preachers are attractive. That guy looks like a little
Right.
gremlin.
Wait, what?
Hairline shake up.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna mob to me, at least be sexy. These niggas look like demons. Like literal demons. Copeland looks like a demon.
20 feet of cement.
He looks crazy.
20 feet of cement.
And look, just I wanted to say I hope this everyone can see what this episode is about. You see it in the title. Don't want to trigger anyone. Just
Oh no, we
disclaimer.
definitely want to trigger
Oh no,
pedophiles.
this is a trigger happy episode.
Yeah.
Like if you've been a victim,
If you've been a victim of a pedophile, tweet them.
Yeah.
It's America.
Get out of there.
It's America. Let's do it
Stand
before
your-
they take your guns away.
Stand your ground.
Yeah.
stand your ground there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yikes.
That's it. That's all I got.
It's funnier when there's confusion. It starts at-
Well, at least you know it's live.
yeah. Hit it.
ought to know.
Tell me, and for our audience, what is a pimp? What does he do?
Well, my job as a pimp was to be considered the female everything. You know, most of the time, young ladies that are looking for love, they're looking for somebody that's concerned about them to be able to take care of them. And this is what a pimp do.
That's why we're on that airplane. We can talk to God. We can. It's when you can't manage that today.
Right.
This dope-filled world. Right. You get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Right. That's exactly.
And it's deadly.
And it works on you hard. It really does.
So anyway, I wanted to make that clear so the devil can't lie to you and say, see there, them preachers spending all that money, just fat cats riding around. No, we're not. We're in business to do. Listen, I could scratch my flying itch with my little single-engine open cockpit airplane.
Right.
I just come home, fly around in that, scratch my flying itch. That doesn't have nothing to do with that. But
Right.
we're in soul business here.
Right.
Okay. Well, hello.
Welcome.
I always thought there was 4 women in the car in that video. This is one.
Which one was
What is
that?
it?
Which movie?
Ironic.
Oh, Alanis Morissette?
Yeah.
Oh,
You put a different hat on, it's a new person.
Right. But she's playing all of them.
Yeah, it's one guy.
She's master of disguise.
Dave Coulier. Dave Coulier.
Yeah, broke that woman's heart.
Well, welcome back. We are on Negroz.
Negroz love this.
Go around the room. Everybody here. Leon.
Present.
Alex.
Pass.
Steven.
808s.
And I'm Marcella, and we are insane.
Okay, preachers have what most pedophiles offer, and it's safety and security. They offer something that they want to trick you into getting something that they have.
You don't like being tricked.
And they have the lowest arrest and the lowest time served.
Mm-hmm. And they're also the whitest.
And also usually the whitest.
The whitest.
White people doing white people things.
Okay, people who can only get by or get people to like them through manipulation or using desperation and naive people at their advantage. Those two things that preachers and pedophiles do, they only adapt themselves with relationships that they could get something out of it or be like the bigger person in that situation. Well, they're thinking they're the bigger person in that situation. What kind of people are these, and how did you not become one?
So these are the same people that are targeted when cults are looking to grow the ranks.
Right.
You are susceptible, you like hierarchies, and you like serving the people at the top of that hierarchy.
What happened to you, though?
Some of these people have very, very healthy lives where nothing happened to them, and most of them it's direct trauma that you could just point out. Someone's uncle fucked somebody in a room.
They say that majority of child pedophiles were victimized themselves.
Yeah.
Now, how do you know which one's a capping? I don't know. Can't really tell. You would hope that they wouldn't be lying about that, right?
If you look, I'm sure if someone said it and you looked into it and you were able to prove that it was 40, I think you could easily double that and just say you can't prove it, but it's probably true.
Right. I mean, you could probably tell.
You could
right?
just tell, because then you would find other things that you would qualify as something as proof.
Right.
And then you would just adhere that to the other ones that have that similar symptom.
Unknown guy who just announced he'd been eating a lot of Subways and had lost a lot of weight. And before we know it, Subway's business was completely transformed. They ended up making $8 billion or something ridiculous. You made yourself a millionaire. Do you still eat Subway sandwiches?
I do. I don't eat it every single day anymore, but I've learned, in moderation. I'll tell you, I've kept the weight off now for 15 years. I still probably average eating it 3 or 4 days a week. And, I travel almost 200 days a year as part of my job and as part of what I do with Subway. So I have to be obviously pretty careful, especially when you're on the road.
What is the question you get asked most by people?
Well, I think they always want to know, did you really do it? I mean, I think people are still sort of fascinated by that. Of course, losing 245 pounds in a year. But then I think the other one I get always asked is, how do you keep it off? Because I think we all know how to lose weight. I mean, there's a million ways to lose weight out there, but it's keeping that weight off that's obviously the hardest part, especially in this country. And what I tell people is, I still eat Subway occasionally, but I've just learned to eat in moderation. I try to get my exercise in on a pretty regular basis, and there's always excuses. You can always have a million excuses out there, but you just got to finally put up and just do it. People are always fascinated to see the pants. It's a great visual aid, and especially when I'm talking to kids. I speak to children all over the country, and actually all over the world now, about my story, the fact that they know me really well from TV, and they try to have a good message for them about the mistakes that I made. And when they see the old pair of pants, they just sort of ooh and ah, they really just can't believe it.
You must go crazy with your travels because you get to go into all the different schools and, all the different things like that. I want you to...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of stories. I want you to tell me some of them so that, I don't know, I like to...
Yeah, especially some of the middle school. I love the middle school, and then girls are starting to get,
Yeah.
Because you know how much I love big, I love you.
Mm-hmm. Well,
What's that?
Well, you know, kids are maturing faster nowadays.
I know, which I love.
Don't harm the children.
And that's what I think is wonderful with you, is that you're able to get in early. You know, you could totally, you could totally win them over, which is what I love.
You like that?
I do love that.
Tell me, will you tell me how to do that?
You know, just talk to them, just get to know them, just everything, and just, you know, do a little touchy-feely things with them, you know, make them feel good. And it's a little more touchy-feely, a little more touchy-feely, a little more touchy-feely. And it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that would be amazing.
Totally amazing. What age seems to be the easiest?
You know, I don't know, like, you know, early middle school is probably one of the best.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know if they're coming or going. I could see you, you know, 6th, 7th grader, you know, this.
And they'd be alright with that?
What's that?
Need to find out if they'd be alright with that?
Oh, no, they'd definitely be alright with that. They're very much into exploring and, you know, it's just a matter of getting them on your side, you know?
And that's what I'm just curious. I don't know how to do that. Just be friendly to them?
Yeah, just be friendly to them. Just do what you normally would do, baby, because that's what you're so friendly anyway. You know, and then we just sort of go from there. We take it, and I think it's all case by case, you know, there's no right way, wrong way, whatever, you know? And it's a little more touchy-feely, a little more touchy-feely, a little more touchy-feely.
With that being said, why is it, do you believe, people can separate the hatred? Like, why is this crime the most hated out of all the crimes?
Because it's beyond a crime. So, like, you were referring to, like, when a pedophile does go to jail and they beat them to death.
Yeah, like, why is this worse than murdering your wife?
Because even to some degree, violent criminals have set a standard of certain people are off limits, or certain things are off limits. And there's no negotiation with that. And they also believe that these pedophiles in that space aren't like them in any way.
Right.
Which they're not. Because if we break down pedophilia, a lot of it is not necessarily a sex thing. They don't want to have sex. Because, like, what's sexy about a kid?
Right.
Nothing. And a lot of pedophiles across the board, when they break down if they are specific to a gender, it's roughly equal, boys and girls, because they're not necessarily gay, straight, or have a preference. It's just a child that's in close proximity to them.
And then we also have, like, non-offending minor attracted person.
You ought to know.
Have you ever used a map before? A map is a special drawing that can help you find the best way to go from one place to another.
Jay, someone who goes by the name of Jay, he identifies as a pedophile, or more specifically, a minor attracted person, or even more specifically, a non-offending minor attracted person, or a no-map, non-offending minor attracted person. So at what point did you learn that it wasn't universal?
As I entered my young adult years, so like 18 through early 20s. I mean, definitely, actually, by the time I was 20, I had a pretty solid understanding that the way I felt was pretty unique.
How did you learn that?
I don't know. I just kind of, came to the realization, I took societal cues and put it together.
Yeah. And how did you feel about it?
I can remember a specific moment when I had a realization and a panic. I mean, it gave me a panic attack. Yeah, I just remember I was in my room, I was just sitting there thinking about, I think, a particular girl, but then I started to think, I just really love little girls. Like, man, are they something else? And then I'm like, oh shit, you know what? I think that means I'm one of those people. And it was pretty terrifying to realize, oh, I'm like the most hated kind of person in the world.
And Then what?
I was getting involved in the MAP community. I'd gone there for support, and I was starting to get into, MAP activism. I'd go on Reddit and talk to people about it and say, hey, not all pedophiles are monsters.
So you go on regular Reddit, not like a MAP supportive site.
Right, yeah, I would just go on, yeah.
So
wherever you see
this was a post about a quote-unquote pedophile. And
Yeah, and I would go in there and start, saying, telling this, because the people were saying all this horrible stuff. And I'm like, hey, come on. Like, this is terrible what you're saying, and not everybody's like this. I had a pretty long history of this. I mean, I probably made 100 different comments like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there are as many, I think a lot of sexual abuse against children is not, motivated by the fact that somebody is attracted to children. If somebody is going to victimize somebody sexually, their orientation, and I'm sorry if that irritates people, but their orientation will inform probably who their victim is going to be.
R. Kelly,
he's a Mac.
Be one overlaps into people who don't know these terms and don't know that they're specific things they can call themselves, and people who just put themselves in situations where they're around kids, whether it be their profession as a guy who volunteers to coach his son's CYO team.
He could be a
just
Mac.
because he likes being around those kids.
Well, no, he's
and
not a
maybe,
Mac.
I know, but maybe he hasn't explored that yet, but perhaps it is a thing.
Why is that? No. Because most people, if you think about the early '90s, when you see summer camp shows and shit like that, so people just like being they like hanging out with kids.
I think that's weird, and I always think that's tangential to.
It's not my thing.
I think on a long enough timeline, you're gonna fuck a kid if you're only around kids.
What if you can't have children as an adult, and you look at this as your second calling?
Call it a wash.
You know what I'm saying?
Wrap it up. That's so hard.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Up, B.
Fine, cool. I don't get to have kids.
Don't work at a job where you can help other children.
I don't know if it's necessarily helping them, if it's self-serving.
If it's just for me, you're right.
Yeah, if you're going there because I like kids and also it's a job that helps people.
So you get this gratification through
being around the smell of those sexy kids. Yeah.
That pubescent.
So is it fair to say that women are not in that category?
Well, this is
what about the women who can't have children and they also like to be around kids?
This would be another question to ask. Now, I am not a woman. I can't speak on this.
Right. I'm also not a woman.
And I also don't like to treat women as a monolith. Right. But I don't have enough evidence of women going out of their way to fuck kids.
Well, on that note,
and we naturally think of females as being caring, nurturing, and of course taking a great amount of responsibility in terms of caring. And as a result of that, sometimes we think of female sex offenders in the minority, but they certainly are greater than we knew. Back in 2010, when some research was done with regards to convicted sex offenders, the increase was there. Only a very small percentage, 1%. But what we do see is more reporting now. And in terms of the amount of reporting that's taking place, shockingly, research was done that 89% of people who reported female sex offenders for the first time weren't believed. And that tells you a lot about the gender imbalance and
Planet Earth, you're my boy, and listen intently to the things I do not say, rather than to what I say.
according to the Telegraph in the UK, between 2015 and 2019, there was an 84% increase in female pedophilia from 10,400 cases that females were caught in compromising situations with children.
What was the male?
Shit,
of
that's
that
what,
year?
I know it sucks because I always think like that. Like, what the fuck was she being bullied into? Because you always feel like it definitely wasn't her. She was being pushed into that situation. Because no woman off top just wants to fuck with kids. I don't think so.
Because it comes out of their body.
And again,
You know what I'm saying?
and again, in a post Me Too world, perhaps a woman being very caring and motherly can get perceived by someone as they're trying to fuck you. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right.
And they'll back off.
Right, right.
The line gets blurry for 16, 17-year-olds of males who think this is a badge of honor to be seduced by a woman, older woman.
This goes into the trans argument of when it's okay to let a kid transition or do any of that stuff. They like to throw around this 14-year-old thing. Would you let a 14-year-old cut off their genitals? And there's zero examples of that. It doesn't exist. 16 is an age where people are allowed to do things. So I know for a lot of people, there's a big difference between a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old in regards to their agency, constitution.
Yes.
I even asked people who are against these things, when was the first time you had sex? Chances are it was before they were 16 years old. Just because it was a person of the opposite sex, that doesn't change anything. You still had constitution. If you were dealing with a person who was 40 and fucked you when you were less than 16, that's very different than a person who was also 14 years old. Right? But allowing someone to do things under a certain age when in one state you can drive a car at 14, but in another state you can't when you're 18. Perhaps those distinctions can't happen up to a certain age, but there can't be an ultimate standard for those distinctions once we hit that age range. Then it can be on a case-by-case basis. Some kids are fucking stupid. Some kids are fucking...
Grooming is a thing, though.
No, absolutely.
Grooming is a thing. Like
Absolutely.
we can say that children can be manipulated into
But
thinking
everybody knows that,
this
though.
is this is something of their own choosing.
Right, but
you
no,
know?
but all kids, first of all kids want to be adults. when
Yeah,
they're younger.
absolutely.
So,
And
and
they're
everybody
sold
knows that.
They're even sold that. Oh,
Right.
meet a person early so that you can grow up, have kids, have a wife,
That's-
etc.
yeah.
And they're cosplaying from the age of like 8.
Yes.
Oh, that's my boyfriend
Yes.
playing
Right.
house. And
Yes.
like parents like, oh, that's fucking cute.
Right.
But then if they do something that's in the similar vein, but in a thing they disagree with, they go, oh no, that's grooming. That's definitely grooming, but this isn't. So
How do you
it's all
separate?
it's all
The
weird.
confusion,
It's all weird. All of it's
So
weird.
just
Well, it starts with the
leave
parents.
kids alone.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't feel like they should be tested. Like, why do we have to test them?
I think
like,
leave
let
kids
them-
alone. Don't even talk to them until they're
Right.
like 18, and then when they emerge from the jungle, then you allow them to be people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the movie The Crush.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I guess what I want to say is, I really like you, Adrian.
I really like you too.
No, I mean, as a friend. I mean, let's face it, you're 14, I'm 28. That's a big difference.
Whatever you say.
Now look, let's avoid any confusion here. I'm gonna make this very simple for you. You're too young for me. There's nothing between us, nothing.
Next time live at 5, man charged with sexual abuse of his 6-year-old niece.
I hate this. I can't watch this anymore.
It's crazy. How are we ever going to let Diana be alone with anyone?
To help protect kids from sexual abuse, talk with them about it in ways they'll understand, even if it's awkward.
So,
Okay.
it's like this.
It's about we have to talk about people who,
Try to
if anyone
advertise,
touch your
private.
parts.
Totally messing this up. Why?
But then
Right.
you got these fast girls and these fast boys who
Yeah,
want
but they've
to...
always been like that since
Yeah,
like,
that's always
look
been.
at the 70s
They
and
used
the
to call
60s.
girls.
But wait, I'm
They
just
used to
saying...
call girls hussy.
Yeah, that's the 40s.
Hussy.
80s Jezebel. 20s.
Jezebel. Well, that's biblical. That's
Right,
It's always been
fast girls.
See that girl's ankle?
Jezebel.
Her
Well,
birth
no.
is too tight.
Uh-oh. But yeah, like, you got the young ones, claiming a different age, making themselves look older.
And these girls are sexy. We're talking the sexiest.
I mean, you sexy ass kids. There's always this excuse from men or maybe even from women, like, oh, they look older than I didn't think they were older than I didn't think they were older than
A middle school teacher in trouble accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student.
And we're learning that he is the son of a pastor with the disturbing details. Christian.
And detectives tell us they have evidence in the form of direct messages they claim were sent between this teacher
and his 12-year-old student.
It's kind of traumatizing. I always thought he was like a good teacher.
Middle school teacher, 26-year-old Martin McCullough Jr. is being accused of having an inappropriate relationship with one of his 12-year-old students.
It's scary. It's scary because my daughter just turned 13.
This student tells Local 10 News he's been one of her teachers.
He was always talking to the girls like that was his cousins or like, daughters.
Police say the inappropriate relationship went on for 2 calendar school years at Horace Mann Middle School. The police report says it started with McCullough exchanging post-its with the child, one saying, "I love you." The girl telling police she would sit on McCullough's lap where they would kiss mouth to mouth and he would grope her buttocks while they were hugging. Detectives say the teacher asked the victim for pictures of her feet and engaged in video chats on Instagram where he, quote,
willfully and intentionally exposed his penis.
Keep an eye on your kids.
The teacher turned suspected child molester has bonded out of jail. Community activist Tangela Sear says the suspect grew up in the church and his father was a pastor.
He comes from a great family, but this is just an example that we have to be careful everywhere we go.
Ought to know.
I was 12. I know what a 12-year-old person. And she was with her family, and she knew what she was doing, and they knew what she was doing, and it made me uncomfortable to be anywhere near her because, like Patrice O'Neal once said, I don't want to be accidentally walking in the park, sipping a soda. I throw the soda over my shoulder, and it lands near a dead white woman, and now all of a sudden I'm the Pepsi Cola rapist.
Right.
That's what I don't want to happen. I don't want to be in the vicinity where that girl gets raped. Well, she's going to.
Right.
And it's not her fault.
It's not her fault.
Right. And it's not her fault. It's not her fault.
That's why I do a lot of stuff to protect myself, man. I keep my receipts. That's why I don't litter. I don't throw garbage in the street. Not because I care about the earth, but I'm afraid I'll be walking through the park drinking a soda. When I'm done, I just throw it on my shoulder, fly over a bush, and land on some dead white woman's head with my fingerprints on the can. Now I'm the Pepsi Cola rapist because I'm lazy.
If I have nothing, and you have nothing,
And I take your nothing, maybe I'll have something. For a deep dive into the PPP. Alright, Christians, how we feeling tonight?
Praise Jesus! Praise Him!
Well, let's keep this salvation train going with the hot man sanctified. Apparently there's been a change. Give it up for...
We are the old Negroz and the Negroz lovers.
We don't need to to have all this gold.
But the Bible also said, judge the heart, not the outer appearance.
You what? I'm sorry.
Well, I was explaining to the Bible lets us know to judge the heart of a person, not the outer appearance. It said man's always judge the outer appearance. The Bible tells us to stop dealing in the minors and deal with the major. It's more interested in saving a soul than worry about the jewelry and the clothes.
Whatever you do right now, don't you stop tithing. Don't you stop sowing offerings. Well, they won't let us go to church. Well, email it in there, text give or something, but you get your tithe in that church. If you have to go take it down there and drop it off and stick it under the door or something, you get that tithe in that church, you get that offering in that church, and then you go home and you do what we're supposed to do.
What you supposed to do? Jewelry and the clothes.
Don't worry about the jewelries and the clothes.
PPP.
Well, try telling that to Bishop Lamar Whitehead, who is constantly decked out in Gucci.
My
man with he had the 112 glasses.
A whitehead is a type of pimple.
What kind of pastoring are you doing?
Well, I'll say this. I'm not the first pastor you heard anything like that about.
So he's just this pimp. So a lot of these preacher pimps are caught up in some scandals where they're stealing money or,
coming.
It's either sex or it's money or both, a combination.
They're not reaching their caps.
They're so persuasive in getting money from their congregations, and you got preachers asking for, planes. Fund their lifestyles essentially, and
get your tithes in.
It's like, get your tithes in. Why are people so eager to just give their money away to people while they're struggling? People are struggling to pay their own bills, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to give to this, even though I can see clearly where that money is essentially going. It's not like they're going around, rescuing people or helping people with their rent. They're deciding to, buy Range Rovers and
expensive clothes and jewelry and shit.
Jewelry. Oh my God. He was the Bishop Lamar Whitehead was robbed of
Police say the robbers came in here, where Whitehead is using space for his work with leaders of the Tomorrow Church, stealing more than $1 million worth of jewelry from him and his wife.
I know a lot of people going to say, "Oh, why are you so flashy?" It's not about me being flashy. It's about me purchasing what I want to purchase, and it's my prerogative to purchase what I want to purchase. If I work hard for it, I can purchase what I want to purchase.
Didn't affect him.
He got the insurance.
Unaffected.
Do you think they want to be more of entertainers than preachers?
Like rap adjacent?
Right. Like, why do you think preachers, like even the white preachers, why do they think the that lifestyle is a part of the preacher lifestyle?
Because they never got into preaching to be about God or faith or spirituality in any aspect. It's a grift to make money and then flex that wealth. And within their grift, they've created a community that believes them showing them the wealth is the way to God, which is like as far away from any biblical verse I've ever read.
Right. It's this lack of critical thinking, that perpetuates this, and this excessive.
Like you're describing Republicans.
I would wish that it was just Republicans giving all their money to these preachers, but it's not.
Yeah.
Are people too lazy to have a real relationship with God or the Creator or the Source or whatever you call Yahweh?
You talk about they can't get it out of themselves? Like listen, I'd rather pay you to hook me up with a blessing than what
wait for it.
Oh no. Like I don't have time to
wait for it. I need that blessing right now.
I think that's the kind of game that they kick on them. They're like, the more money you give me when you leave your house tomorrow, get ready for it.
Get ready for that blessing. Now.
What if I told you that the story of this
$78 million in revenue, tax-free. Manipulation, religious trauma, systemic cover-up.
millions across the world?
Everything in your life is Hillsong. This is not what I thought it was.
And this is us, Hillsong Church.
You need a miracle. Real people with real needs are receiving real life-changing miracles when they use the miracle spring water.
My husband brought the spring water up and I drank it. And I'm speaking today. I had no speech, totally paralyzed, and now I'm testifying.
You had sent me the water and I used it. You told me I was going to get a check for $7,000. Sure enough, I got a check in the mail. It was exactly $7,000.
This faith tool will help you to see liberation
from the bondage of debt. It's free. I want to send it to you. No obligation. Call me now.
And when you told me to anoint my checkbook yesterday, I received a letter for over $45,000 that my second mortgage was paid off.
Get the spring water, drink the spring water, or whatever you need to do with it. It really works.
If you're tired of the devil stealing, if you're tired of the devil killing, if you're tired of the devil destroying your life, you must order the personal package, and you got to order it right.
Oh my God!
You'll have checks mailed to your house. We don't know from where. They're coming.
The Lord. The little baby angels.
The one thing that God speaks about the most is the cold hard American dollar. It's all across the Bible. Cash.
Placebo effect.
Cold hard cash.
In order to get these people to listen, you have to be highly persuasive, narcissistic, the ability to, I guess, read people, knowing
Look like a snake oil salesman.
Is right.
Right. They dress like snake oil.
They dress like solar salesmen.
You know, but it gets to the point where they're so powerful, where you have a Jim Jones type.
Youngstown was described as this paradise, and it was not. And part of that, I believe, is because we all are looking for a place to fit into the world. We're looking for love, we're looking for acceptance, and Jim Jones provided that.
Who is able to brainwash people and kill 900 he's a serial killer.
Just
he
a
kills
fate.
That's a massive murder.
Jim Jones was not trying to make money. He was establishing a cult.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just the connection of
He did get
these
rich
people.
doing that, though.
I thought he got rich
He got
tangential to it. Because he was still doing like he was still selling them.
Well, yeah, he took some homeless people in, but he was also getting donations. So
Nicaragua's a wild place.
yeah, he got paid for that. Yeah, he was well dressed.
Once
He
you
was
off
doing
a
good.
politician coming to visit you by accident, it's time to drink that Kool-Aid.
I think George Carlin said it best. God loves you, but he needs money. He needs money. He's omnipotent, omnipresent, and he loves you, but he needs money. He didn't figure that one out yet. He needs the money.
Got him.
Ought to know.
Concerned people avoid it, avoid being like brainwashed, and there are people who are just so susceptible.
Do you feel like those people feel like they're blessed enough? They're like, you know why I don't really go to church as much or donate that much?
Because I got all my shit.
I got all my shit.
Right, so like that's why they don't see like a whole bunch of rich people in churches like that.
Rich people are in church like that.
Because they pay for their sins.
No, right. They're
paying for their sins.
Or they're investing. They're investing. They're
You talk
investing
about
in the church because
politicians.
they got a return. You know why I don't go to church? Have you ever been in a church? Weird as fuck.
No, but it's sexy as hell.
Well, I was raised. Well, I went to a Catholic school.
Right,
so
they got shit painted on the ceilings.
It's sexy as hell.
Men in gold robes and some sexy ass kids next to them.
And for some reason, like there are women dressed sexually for the church as well.
Some of them got Some of them got their.
Yeah, about the Lord.
Yeah, for the Lord.
Right, yeah. I just like
gesture to my chest.
Remember that time in the 90s?
The way I'm disco dancing.
They was making like church the place to bag chicks.
And the women had this shirt.
Oh yeah, and that's also a very predatory. Most churches, but a lot in the black churches. These preachers.
Well, that's where they set you up too.
Yeah.
They set you up on dates in church. Oh, that's that nice boy.
Why are we doing that? Why are we like trying to have matchmaking?
Church was
in
the
church?
first Tinder.
I do my little turn on the catwalk.
If you are not a reality, whose myth are you? If you are not a reality,
Pastor Dwayne Dawkins.
Blessings to everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to be in company with so many people who are willing to be vulnerable and to share.
whose myth are you?
I had connected with an individual of the same gender, and I've had throughout my childhood, up until even this moment, dealing with bisexual tendencies. Anointed, called of God, and all of that, but did not have an opportunity to really dig into those issues and unpack them. No excuse to it, just what it is. I connected with an individual. It's what they call a sneaky link.
All right.
Yeah. And in that moment, he recorded it I was aware of the recording. Prior to it was asked if he could record, and I thought it would be for his personal pleasure, so to speak. Again, I preface this all by saying it was not right, it was wrong, but that's where I was in that moment. I had to acknowledge where I was. Later on that same day, he posted it. He's a content creator, so this is someone who does this as their main or one of their sources of income or whatnot. I called him immediately when I was made aware of it and said, "Why did you do that? You know, please take it down. I didn't give consent for that, etc." He hung up on me. I called back and he had blocked me. That was the last I'd ever heard from him. That evening, you can imagine, I did not sleep. I have a wife and 3 beautiful sons. Pastor a church in South Florida for 14 years at that point. And family, loved ones, all of that. So the weight of that shame sat on me. For the first time ever in my life, I pulled out my life insurance policy. And while church folk laughed at it, while friends distanced from me, I contemplating getting rid of myself.
Like, it's such a vulnerable place. You know, I would think you're trying to connect to God, and it's supposed to be a safe place, a temple, but here you have all these predators, like these wolves, like right there, and you don't even know what you're walking into. You're like a snowball into hell. Like, you just walking right into it. These pedophile priests, like, will uncover the scandal and everything, and still will find a way to blame the child or blame the woman that the scandal was with. Or
people love
God. We just love to protect these people. Why is that?
People love God because their parents beat them if they questioned it when they were a kid, and then they perpetuate that further because it's just deep trauma that can't be undone without ridiculing or making fun of somebody and making them feel like shit or questioning their own religious beliefs. It's a lot of identity involved in that.
But it's like these preachers are addicted to the money. They're addicted to greed. They don't even give back in a really quintessential way. Like, they just keep taking and taking, and we keep giving and giving, and it's just this infinite loop.
There are preachers in most black neighborhoods who you don't even see them at the fucking barbecue. You don't even see them at the block party.
Who move the church.
They fucking move their house. They don't even live in the neighborhood anymore. Black preachers act like politicians. And that's a big problem because they're the only ones we have, because we don't even have politicians to know that we're even moving forward in life. So if you go to the preacher and he's lying to you and the fucking politician's lying to you,
who's more influential? Is it Kanye? Is it the preacher or the politician?
It's all connected. The music and then the person.
Who are we so desperate to and willing to listen to? And who? I mean, if you have that much power,
but how are all these preachers still making money if it's just Kanye? There's multiple black millionaire preachers who are not kicking Kanye shit.
Of the culture of the people who continue to contribute to it.
Right.
And that's generational. That's your parents telling you, let's go to church. That's just what we do in this family.
I mean, 2 days a week maybe, and you're giving money 2 days a week.
And you're spending your whole fucking day there. And then you're doing a food thing the next day. Be out there working on Sunday, getting that double time.
But is being poor maybe a safer space than being greedy? Like having nothing.
They have no cash.
Like, maybe there's a protection in that.
I mean, you can be greedy. You can be greedy without consequence. If you're greedy and the consequence is someone else becomes poor or potentially homeless, that's
you go to pray for them.
Objectively worse. Yeah, no, they're not.
That's crazy.
They're not.
Once they take the house, they go down to the shelter and go, listen, y'all, I hope I'm going to pray for y'all.
And then on Thanksgiving, they show up
them turkey. And they put those same niggas in the shelter.
Is that?
That's crazy. That's Nino Brown shit.
Act now and secure your own turkey for Thanksgiving in the shelter.
That's Nino Brown shit. The preachers is Nino Brown.
Because power begets power.
It's all really screwed up because people take advantage of anything. Like, oh, I got real estate. but you just have to like send me like $3,000 a month, you know, and then you'll just get paid every month after that.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, okay, sounds great.
Yeah. That's what with the grifts with Bishop Whitehead. Like he scammed this woman out of like $500,000 on the promise of like getting her a house, and he just never, you know. And then he was like, "Well, that was a donation."
Pastor who made headlines when he was robbed of expensive jewelry during a live-streamed church service has been indicted on federal charges.
Among the allegations against Lamar Whitehead, that he scammed a parishioner out of $90,000. And as CBS 2's Christina Fan reports, this isn't his first time in trouble with the law.
A normally flashy Bishop Lamar Whitehead was silent outside federal court as his attorney denied all fraud allegations against him. The Brooklyn pastor, known for delivering sermons in designer suits and lavish jewels at Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, is being accused by federal prosecutors of obtaining part of his wealth illegally.
Bishop Lamar Whitehead is not guilty of these charges. We are vigorously going to defend these accusations.
According to an unsealed indictment, Whitehead asked for money and other things of value from victims using threats and false promises. He allegedly convinced a parishioner to invest $90,000 of her retirement savings with him, but spent it all on himself. He is also accused of extorting a businessman of $5,000, then convincing the victim to lend him $500,000 more and give him a stake in real estate transactions in return for favors from the city government, which Whitehead knew he could not obtain. The 45-year-old is now charged with 2 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of extortion, and 1 count of making material.
Remember this. I'm gonna repeat this. Just because you was arrested doesn't make you guilty. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm telling you. Y'all drunk it already. Don't drink it again. Give it time. Give it time. Older lady, one of the mothers of the church, told me, Bishop, when they lie on you, just know that the truth is putting on its shoes. Y'all stay tuned to this mysterious people in my indictment. And they said, a lot of people called me and said, you know what? We're going to show the world who they are. And I want y'all to really pay attention to the attack on the man of God. Amen. Pay attention, y'all. Pay attention. And don't
when they have
cast
cancer
judgment.
and then they're told by the church,
Let
donate money and we'll
take
pray
its
for you for your cancer
Yeah.
going. And then in lieu of paying for their own cancer treatment, they
Right.
send money to the church and then they die.
Mm-hmm.
That's what God would have wanted.
I think it boils down to you could make people believe stuff. If you're like, you know, you're a really convincing person, like you could just scam people with some stupid shit.
And you work in communities where they're limiting access of education to kids.
It's a they're just all psychopathic. And
yeah, no, it's sociopaths.
Sociopaths, yes.
Crazy stuff. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And because you're not doing it right, you feel like they must be doing it
They
right.
must know because they've got all the Gucci on.
Right, 'cause I don't know.
That's why they wear the Gucci.
Yeah, because they must have figured it out.
Trust me, because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, of course, look at all that Gucci.
So you're telling me that I could just go out and ask people for money?
And they'll give it to me.
Depends on what you're wearing.
Essentially, that's what rich people do. Once you have access to
They call
money, they ask
fundraisers.
other rich people for money because they're already rich. Yeah.
And then
Well, no, the crime is in the
money.
cover-up. You know, you know these things are happening.
Systemic
and-
crime is in the cover-up.
Yeah, and they re-victimizing people over and over again. So now we just have a culture of all these young people who are being molested, and they grow up with these drug addictions, these
Or they
weird
grow up to
sexual.
become priests and fuck kids.
Exactly. They, and
That would be like a bad
And I
crime.
feel like when you molest a child, you're putting the spirit on them. You know, you're literally like ruining a soul. Okay, that was good. That was the ending. That was the ending we needed.
Hold on, wait. Apparently, in 1957, Kenneth Copeland had a chart-topping hit titled "Pledge of Love," which went as high as number 17 on the Billboard Top 40. Kenneth Copeland.
Not Stewart?
Nope, Kenneth.
I'm gonna cut this out of the recording, but me and I were older boys.
Oh yeah.
And they want them off you.
We were. My mom like forced me to be one at 7th grade.
So she set you up.
We were in there for a minute, for a hot minute. And there was a dude, like this would have been a nice night for Denise to come through and tell the story because he knows it better. But there's
Maybe we
there's
get a
guy
telephone phone call.
who's basically still there to this day at the same parish, who was giving us, not us, I came late to the game, like I said, I was in 7th grade, so I held out for the longest. But then it was this dude, he was part of it, single guy, and he would like give my buddy, who I'm still friends with, give him weed, give him Gucci. He gave me Gucci Nikes.
Yeah, he wants the
Gucci Nikes.
It's cute.
And yo, he gave me.
Lock that down early.
Man, he was like, "You're my special boy."
Yo, I know. He had the Gucci Nikes.
Yeah.
No joke.
Wait, Steven, what did he give you?
Nothing, bro. I joined in 7th grade. It's like,
want that second fiddle show.
Steven!
I wasn't in there.
That's it.
No, but this dude was giving my weed.
Specimen at that age.
He was like, I got something for you.
Oh, hot.
That's pretty funny stuff. And then this me to tell you.
But aside from how horrible it is, aside from how horrible it is that exists everywhere in every denomination, but when they get caught, the culture of the church is to just move those members of the clergy around,
right?
So they can do it in a new place.
Pope Francis.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
The pastor was back before his congregation, preaching and pushing back.
Fred Blue Dollar's congregation stood and cheered as he took to the pulpit to defend himself.
I can believe God as long as I want to. If I want to believe God for a $65 million plane, you cannot stop me. You cannot stop me from dreaming.
You find earth boring, just the same old same thing. Come on, sign up with all the Space Ways Incorporated. If you find earth boring, just the same old same thing. Come on, sign up with all the Space Ways Incorporated.
We are the old Negroes, and the Negroes love us.
Negroes love us.